Hello, you welcome here to another edition of My Opinion on Cleveland TV. My name is Franca Idemudia. And as usual, I like to encourage you to keep signing up on www.cleveland.com. My guest this morning is Selam Tegegn. I hope I'm right there.
You are right. Is
Yeah, we'll be discussing the impact of Africa culture in Australia. All right, Ms. Selam is a PRO specialist and also multicultural relations advisor, Western Australia. Ms. Selam, you're welcome to my opinion.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, good to have you on board. Yeah, let's start with this. Can we get to meet you?
Good morning,
Just
everyone in Perth, or whenever you see this. My name is Selam Tegegn, and I'd like to first start by acknowledging the traditional landowners of Perth, the Wajak Noongar Nation, past, present, and emerging. And I'd also like to show my respect to the elders and really appreciate their culture and heritage for all, and also allowing us to be here.
Selam Tegegn.
Thank you.
I came to Australia in 2003. I'm from Ethiopia, and my father's Ethiopian. My mum is Eritrean. So, due to the political, issues that we've had for a number of years, we had to leave Ethiopia, and we were refugees in Kenya. I was in Kenya for about 5 years, between I would probably say 95, 96 to 2003. And we came on a humanitarian visa to Australia to start our life here. So I've been here for the last, 20, 21 years, and I have a younger brother. So it's four of us in the family. And it was a very tough journey, trying to move three times to different location, different way of living as a child, then as a teenager, then when you're an adult, the transition is very difficult. And luckily, because I grew up in Kenya, I learned Swahili, I learned English, and that gave me the confidence when I came to Australia. So when I came here, I went to high school at a very good school. I completed my high school, then went to uni. I wanted to be a lawyer initially. I wanted to be a human rights lawyer, just for the simple fact to protect people's rights after everything that I saw, our African brothers and sisters go through as a refugee. It really saddened me, and I said, when I grow up, I want to be able to make an impact. So, and the issue that we face as an African diaspora is, if you want to be in a job role that might not allow you to get a job because we're black, is a big issue. It was a very big issue, especially in 2000, between 2003 to 2014. So my parents said, look, Salam, you don't want to regret in case you don't get a job. So maybe stick to something in the health sector. Do health, maybe pharmacy, do nursing, or become a doctor. So I did politics and legal studies. I focused on that, and I didn't want to regret in case they were right. And a full year, a full degree, and then not being able to work. So I said, no, I'll listen to them. I said they probably have a point. So I said, let me start off with the Bachelor of Nursing, and if I enjoy that, I'll be able to continue. The long short, I completed my bachelor's in science in nursing. Then I completed a postgraduate. I got a graduate program, which included a supportive program for those transitioning as a nursing student to a qualified registered nurse. So I've been doing that for the last 12 years in a number of areas, and I enjoyed it, and I was very happy and listened to them.
fine.
And
All right.
um,
Okay, you
thank
have a degree in nursing, but now you are into public relations. Now,
Yes,
they seems to be poles apart. Can you explain how that came about?
I will. So because I've always had that humanitarian, passion in my heart, and a lot of the things that I do has been, uh, as inspiration from my father in our journey in life, to see what we went through, to see what other Africans had to go through in being, separated from families, or your life is disrupted again and again. And I wanted to give back to the community, in any community that I knew were migrants or have come through a struggle in their transition to a Western world. And I worked a lot in the vaccine, supporting communities, families, council, you just name it, everything that you can imagine. So I was introduced to the Organization of African Communities in Western Australia by a couple of our community leaders in the Ethiopian community, and they were hosting regular seminars in the University of Western Australia. And that day I attended emotional intelligence seminar, and that changed my life because I said I want to be able to give back. And there onwards, I was inspired to support others, and I was given the role as a public director, events coordinator, media, and I just continued my work from there onwards. And now I'm including all roles.
You've narrated a story. I know you've mentioned in one or two places where you're trying to like give your biography and all that about your migration to Australia and all that. So how has it been like? How has life been generally in Australia with you?
Look, it took a while to transition. For me, I really struggled the first couple of years because, in our tradition, in our culture, our neighbors are our family. Not just your not next door neighbor, but your next door neighbor in a couple of the suburbs down the road from you. We have a congregation of families. That's how we get through life. That's who we are as African. It's our culture of being together. And that was a struggle when I came here. I didn't know my neighbors. The culture was different. Transitioning was difficult because, an Ethiopian that lived in Kenya came to Australia. So you can just imagine the different scenario. And I had to make it work because we came here for peace. And the blessing, you, you find out your way in navigating in the community because it's very important that the existing diaspora community support the newly coming African diasporas, because not everyone is a refugee. There's also international students, there's international investors, or there are international people that want to come in and work in Western countries or with the African diaspora.
All right. So is there a difference? Would you say there is a difference, or are there differences between the African culture and the Australian culture? And if there are, can you just
Yeah,
enumerate?
absolutely. Well, see, as an African culture, our culture is very rich. Simple things. Let's talk about our food. To try and get an African food, that it doesn't mean just Ethiopian food, Nigerian food, Ghanaian food, Sierra Leonean food. The way we dress, um, God, and how we connect with people. There's culture there, and there's being able to discuss with elders when there's issues in the community, advice from aunties and uncles. That's our culture. The Australian culture is different because you have the indigenous Aboriginal Torres Strait Islanders who are the native landowners of the country. But when the settlement happened by the English, there's two different cultures as well. So that's three different cultures. And the Australian way of living is a very simple way of living. They're very open-minded. It's a culture shock because we've come from a lifestyle that struggles. Here, it's a way of living that's simple. It's a work-life balance. There's work, there's education, there's community, but it's hard to go into a community when you don't have anything you can connect with. And
Is it right? All right. So with such cultural diversity, how do you cope?
so this is where so many communities within their own communities have community leaders, and they also have organizations in the communities. For example, you'll have the Ethiopian community, the Eritrean community, the South African community, the Nigerian community, the Liberian community, the Sierra Leonean community, and each community in their own community has an organization where there is the treasurer, the president, the secretary, volunteers, and they try and the community by attending to government meetings. And there's a number of support that the government provides. There's organizations that are purely for the Keld community, and the Keld community are communities that are considered from a diverse, multilinguistic, multicultural community. And this is where the African organization of the OAC of WA was created to bring collectively all the African community to one organization to make it easy and effective for these communities to share their cultures and tradition, and be involved in events, and support one another, so that that shock isn't as disturbing, or it wouldn't take as long a time to get comfortable.
But I still need to talk more about that. Okay, you are a multicultural relations advisor. All right, has there been any way you've been able to impact in the life of Africans over there?
Look, I was recently the finalist for the Outstanding Community Champion for a lot of the work that I've done over the last few years, more publicly than privately. And I really realized I made a big impact to the community at the awards night, which is the African Awards Night. It's the Waka Gala. So every year there is a nomination that's opened. There's an is opened to the community for the community to nominate Africans who have done really well in different categories. So one of the categories I was on was the Outstanding Community Champion, and I was a finalist in that. So I tried to do the best that I can in connecting communities, connecting organization, producing project podcasts, in having conversations that need to be had, especially in mental health, because I'm clinical in mental health in my clinical profession, and being able to bring along people to events that will support their community grow, attend other African communities events and support them in setting up their own events, and using my own clinical practice and knowledge to push and support the other African communities that I'm working with. And also, I'm also with the Australian political party called the Labor Party, which is one of the national political party in Australia. And I try and educate the African community about voting, the importance of knowing who your government officials are, your local members are, who the councils are, so that you can with them in your own living area and come out during election period and learn about the system.
So how important is the role of cultural understanding in building a healthy relationship between individuals? Let's say your host community now.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's important because, in order to work together, we need to understand each other's background. We need to understand culture. We need to understand upbringing. And we also need to understand traumas that have occurred along the way. Because when you have come through a traumatic life, it changes who you are, even if you have culture, tradition. And it's very important for me in my work that I try and heal people by the education I give, and to support people that say it's okay to be in a particular role. It's okay for us to look the way we do because this is how God created us. This is the land of other nations. Our land is Africa, but we're here to live with others and support them in their own journey. And I think a lot of community leaders here in Australia do some amazing work in, attending education, attending meetings that will strengthen their knowledge, and also be able to support community leaders in coming together for a better purpose.
So thank you very much, Ms. Selam. We'll continue with this conversation definitely, but we'll take a short break here. All right,
Absolutely.
so we'll come back. We'll continue from where we start. Audience, please don't go away.
In the 21st century's technological advancement, we all seek opportunities to move and network with the emerging space. Introducing Clevenard blog and event posting. Do you think you have some interesting materials, good content, articles, and stories? Then feel free to publish them on Clevenard blog and events page, just as team of our writers are doing presently. By blogging on Clevenard's blogs and events, you benefit from our reach and network. There are a constant stream of people visiting our social platform, and we have figured out just how to distribute our contents. This means you can basically skip the line and get access to a big audience from day one. Furthermore, we can help you get in touch with important people for projects with possibilities of translating your content into other languages and republishing them on Clevenard. This helps preserve and protect your content from getting lost. What's more, you also get to be part of our team with access to our network and lots of exclusives, behind the scenes information. And of course, you get full credit for everything you do, which brings you popularity and make extra income. Sign up now on clevenard.com and start blogging to your advantage. Please see the tutorial video on how to blog or post events on Clevenard Blogs and Events. For more information, contact info@clevenard.com +34 631 279811. Website www.clevenard.com Clevenard, your blogs, your identity.
Welcome back. I'm still with Miss Selam, and we are discussing the impact of African culture in Australia. All right, now let's go to the main topic of discourse, okay? The impact of African culture in Australia. Could you please throw light on that? Let's get to hear your opinion.
Absolutely. Yeah, we have made a huge impact, I think, in Australia because we are a very multicultural community. And having the new Australian party that is a political party called the Labor Party has really been supported by the multicultural community, and this has allowed us to be more public with our culture, with events that's been supported by a number of local councils and government officials here who acknowledge our existence by encouraging that we have our special event. We have events like the Jumbo Africa, which is held every year. We have the women's event, which supports African women in leadership, and we have the African Awards event, which is an annual event which acknowledges and awards African communities who are doing amazing in their community. And this recognition is coming out because in this event what we're doing is we are presenting cultural food from different African community and also the Caribbean community. And this is bringing, it's bringing love. It's bringing that unknown ground of the fear that other people might have, the unknown fear. And sometimes you can't blame people, I feel. That's what I've learned. If people don't know, they just don't know until they know. But once you know, then you're held accountable for the decisions and choices you make, because we're all here to support one another. And I think Australia has made an amazing transition in recognizing the multicultural community. But I think we could do better because the African, settlement goes a very, very long way back. And we did not just come 20 years, but we've been here over 100 years.
So if you have a choice to make, would you have preferred to stay or to live in Australia, or would you have preferred to stay back in Africa?
I don't think there's a right answer to that one. But what I can say is the reason why we left to begin with is because we didn't have that peace. Having to have a good way of living, having the basic needs of, if you can't leave your home in peace and come back in peace, if you can't say your opinion of how you feel about matters, or if you cannot have an education system that can help you grow in your country, I don't think anyone would want to stay there despite it being the motherland. And this is where, despite the difficult journey we had, I'll have to thank the Western world for, being able to support us in bringing us to countries like Australia, America, Canada, other countries in Europe and UK as well. And this is where having supportive communities helps us want to stay here. And being understood is important because it's everyone's responsibility to understand who we are, where we come from, and one Black person is not from Africa only. People need to understand like the whole continent in Africa, there's different countries. You can't put everyone in the same basket. And I think this is where people need to take the responsibility to know who Africans are in their different demographics. Don't put us all in the same basket, but understand where we come from, just the way you learn and understand about other people's history and culture. So yes, I would say I'd love to stay here. I think I will, but I'd also like to support the African diaspora, the refugees, the migrants, and go back home as well and support the people who we've left behind, because I think I've been blessed. God has given me a lot, and I've also got a responsibility and a duty to go back and support those who we've left behind.
That's right. So some exponents believe that the reason you have conflicts, immigrant conflicts within countries, is actually because of cultural differences. What do you have to say about that?
Look, I think the issue is more than just cultural differences, because, if we look back at a way of upbringing, different political standpoints, the way, let's talk about, slavery, unfortunately, and, land ownerships that were taken from a number of African countries. And as Ethiopian, yes, we were not colonized. However, there has been presence of, of the Dutch, the European, and also the Italians. But that isn't the point. We have to move on. We have to heal, but we have to be able to acknowledge what really happened to all of us in Africa and why we've had to move out of there. And this is where I think it's important to have a very honest conversation that, yes, we do have a continent, we do have a beautiful, rich country that we all come from, and due to very unfortunate, circumstances, decisions, choices, and just history in the past itself, we've had to move. And yeah, I would say there's a little bit of culture, but I think there's more to culture, to our division and our moving from our state of origin. And I think we could probably address that topic on another podcast, I'd say.
Yes, all right. So have you ever experienced discrimination based on your cultural difference?
Look, I would be lying if I say I didn't. I have, and I think I try and always look at the brighter side in life and try and look at things as to why someone would feel different about another person that looks, sounds, or feels or has an opinion different to them. And because I have faith very close to my heart, I look at it in the way, if God gives you the wisdom to understand, you understand. And if He doesn't, we have to go and seek that wisdom to understand our differences. So yes, racism does exist. It's something that I've experienced, but it's something that I also don't like to talk a lot about, because I can see society changing. I can see society progressing. And there's a lot of room for people who are actually wanting to find interest in our differences. And it's been hard. It really has been. But you just have to forgive people sometimes when they don't know until they know. And it's something that a lot of us do experience. And I know I'm not the only one. Despite whatever education one might have, despite whatever appearance one might have, when we look different to the majority per se, it will always be a struggle. And, since we've even experienced this Russia and Ukraine division, you can see racism is not just with black and white. Not that I'm saying that's what it is, but the differences of culture, way of thinking, opinion, it's very hard, but I think we're in a society where things can improve. And I think we all experience it.
All right. So now your job entails bridging gap, okay, between cultures. Can you narrate to us any particular experience you've had in the course of doing that assignment?
I think, I do this even automatically, not knowing. And the way I think I do it best is I like to learn about the other people's culture that I'm speaking to. I like to understand what the history behind that country is, or who the ancestors or who the government were, and what really happened, why people moved, or why they're so happy where they are. And once I understand about their country, their demographics, their location, their faith, what happened to them, and some of the traumas they might have experienced, that allows me to be able to talk to them in their own language, in the sense, make them feel comfortable to trust me enough, And that takes a lot of dedication. It takes a lot of patience. And I also think it requires to know God and be close to God to be able to understand that not everyone is the same. We might all look presentable. We might look, but we all have our story. We all have our journey. And I take it as a responsibility to understand people's backgrounds before I can even attend to that community, so that I can do it the best way I can the first time.
Yeah, it's all right. We will take another short break and we'll be back shortly.
Clevenard in Diaspora Television is an internet online TV service. What sets us apart is a unique combination of hit African content, first and exclusive international free movies, series, musics, news, events, documentaries, tourism, teleshopping shows, youth TV programs, and live interviews. Clevenard Diaspora Television is available throughout sub-Saharan Africa and to the diaspora markets worldwide. Take your entertainment with you wherever you go. Watch on your smartphone, tablet, laptop, smart TV, depending on your device. Watch free movies with Clevenard Movies Television. Stop searching for free movies websites and watch Clevenard Movies Television. Watch your favorite African shows anywhere at any time. Don't forget to check out our top 5 TV channels created to get you informed. TV1, Clevenard in Diaspora Television. TV2, Clevenard Youth Television, TV3 Clevenard Movies Television, TV4 Clevenard Teleshopping Television, TV5 Clevenard Tourism Television. To start watching, sign up at www.clevenard.com and follow the easy steps. Once you're done, log into the Clevenard website or app on your device, click on any one of our 5 TV channels, and hit play. We will be very satisfied and happy to welcome you to our team as one of our new business partners. Contact info@clevenard.com +34 631 279811. Website www.clevenard.com.
You're welcome back. Still with Miss Selam. All right, you are obviously a PR advisor. Okay, now what are your roles as a PR advisor?
So the public relations duty requires interaction, engagement with community, with government officials, with organizations that are established to support communities, and it allows me to attend and provide information, opinions on seminars, panels, and questions that our community needs to attend. And this is where I am able to do my job by being present in different venues. That allows me to speak, that allows me to ask questions, and I'm passionate about what I do, and I think that I participate from an ethical point of view and really genuinely addressing what the community needs. And for me, it's not just really about the African or the diaspora community, it's more than that. This is where maintaining good relationship with people is important, understanding that we're all different. We all have a different purpose, different goal, different gift, different mission. And for me, I always say, I am the community. I am for the people, by the people. And this is where, being able to work and attend meetings and, seminars with the government officials, with the Western Australia Police, with the OAC, with multiple multicultural affairs communities and organizations. There's a number of non-profit organizations that support the multicultural and the African communities here, and my role allows me to attend, to go and speak to these organizations and introduce myself and say, how can I help you, or what's happening in the community, and also report what's happening in our own community so that we can come together and support other communities. And I think I see myself as a bridge for other communities to feel comfortable, for other people to feel comfortable, approach me about, issues that are in the community, and also to be able to support community leaders and also the councils and government officials in understanding us, our way of living, some of our different cultures, way of thinking, and our tradition.
So how would you rate your accomplishment so far?
Look, for me, I think it's a duty of calling. I think it's a responsibility that, especially as a young African woman, from the journey that I've had, and both the struggles and the joy and the accomplishment I've had, I don't see it even as an accomplishment. I feel like it's a duty that I need to continue to pursue and do it the best that I can. I'm a little bit hard on myself. I mean, being on the finalist for the outstanding community champion says enough, I think, but I feel I could do more, But I also thank God for allowing me to make that big impact on people's lives.
I thank you so much. Now, in building intercultural relations, okay, how important is the role of the public relations officer?
Look, I think it's very important, because if we don't come to an understanding about our differences, we can just start with simple fact, names. We have different kind of names that sound different, they mean different, and our names actually have a meaning where we come from. Our parents, our ancestors don't just name us. There is a connection to time, culture, heritage, and also blessings to it. And for me, my roles are many. I'm not just a public relations officer. I'm also an ambassador for the intercultural community here with the Canning View community in south of the river here in Western Australia, which is a fantastic intercultural community hub that supports the community in that area by a number of projects, and there are a number of ambassadors who we've just finished our orientation, our course that supports us in being able to be well equipped in understanding and also being able to deliver some of these projects in bringing communities together, making communities feel comfortable in participating and engaging, because not every African community feel confident to reach out and say, can we have support in this? And this is where I think this role allows me to really do justice, and it does require a bit of courage sometimes, and I don't think it's just about confidence. I think when one loves what they do, the guidance and the push of God is also there.
Yes, I thank you so much. Now, as a cultural bridge builder, all right, so what would be your advice to especially the communities of Africans in Australia?
What I've learned, and for me personally, I have to admit, I have always been open to learn and understanding why people are the way they are, or why they think the way they do. Because sometimes because we come from a different way of upbringing, sometimes we might appear serious, or sometimes we might appear that we're not happy, but it's actually not the case. You know, some of us come from a very rich history, a rich culture. Some of us come even from a royal tribe, and it's just the way that we are created. And I think it's very important that different communities really get to the bottom of where we come from, who we are, what our culture is, what our values are, what our, what brings us together. Because just because we're black, it just doesn't mean that we're from Africa. There are people who are from a mixed race within the same country, and there's different people with different cultures and tradition. And maybe the parents might be from the west of Africa, and some might be from the east of Africa. And I think it's very important to not forget that, and be very open-minded, be very respectful of different faiths that everyone has, of different ways of thinking. I know it's very hard for a lot of us, but with work in progress, we can get there. And always remembering why we get into community work, it's to support other people and never to forget the objection and the objective and mission.
Yes, all right. Thank you so much, Ms. Selam. It's good having you in the studio with us this morning. All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in on today's edition, and that will come your way again with another edition of My Opinion. Have a nice evening. Bye.
Hello there. Looking for an African movie? Search no further. Clevenard African Movies TV is here for you. We are dedicated to the acceleration of African films, TV series, documentaries, and lots more. Explore our movies at home or on the go. Clevenard Movies is free to watch on clevenard.com. Don't miss this opportunity. Hurry now. Sign up and subscribe today.